Hey amiguis, so the last time we were all here together, I officially announced that I had quit my fintech sales job in order to pursue a healthier, happier life and start content creation full time. I want to thank you guys so much. I know I mentioned it in my last video, but truly I was very afraid of disappointing my audience because I know that so many of you did look up to me and follow me because I was the person that was balancing it all. But the love, support, and understanding that you all sent my way, the amount of Latinas that commented really similar experiences in fintech was just so validating. And while I did lose some followers, which is to be expected after a big announcement like this, it was nothing in comparison to all the amiguis who stood by my side. And for that, I am so grateful. I still have a lot of messages to respond to and I'm working on it, but I asked you guys if you had any questions for me. And so we're gonna answer it all today. If you have any more questions, just comment them below and I'm sure I'll get to them in a future vlog or sit down video like this. So let's get started with your questions. A lot of you didn't have questions. You just shared how happy you were for me. I love you guys. Thank you so much. But one of the questions that was really common was, does it worry you to go from a consistent income to freelancing, aka inconsistent income? Overall, no, but there will always be a voice in the back of my head that comes from a really insecure place that will always feel that slight worry about not having a steady paycheck. The main reasons I'm not super worried about that right now is that one, I saved up enough to live off of for an entire year. So even if eventually I have to go back to corporate or traditional work, I know that I have this time to reflect, recover, and build on something. Two is that I believe in the power of manifestation. I'm a very spiritual person. We're not going to go into my whole background or life story today by any means, but if we were to think about where I started in this life versus where I am today, it couldn't be more different. And all of that I really think is thanks to the power of my mind, my intentions, my spirit, and of course the work ethic that I've learned over the years and inherited from my family. I really view money as energy. Never in my life have I gone without exactly what I needed at the time. And I truly believe that that's going to follow me into this era. And I'm trying to shift my entire perspective. I no longer want to just trade my time for money. I want to trade my skills and my natural strengths for more energy. And I know that social media and influencing isn't the most transparent, but once you start making money online, your eyes really open up to how much money is out there, and it's a lot. So obviously before I had a great job with a great salary, commission, all that fun stuff, but I was literally working 40 hours a week for it and taking the work home mentally. Whereas now my work is actually something that I really love. And when I get those brand deals, I could be filming and editing for half a day and make what I used to make in a single paycheck. The creator economy is huge and I'm not going to count myself out of it because if the Alex Earls of the world can make a ton of money, why can't I? That was a really long way to say that I really believe the universe has my back and I'm not super worried right now. Obviously, I'm going to be realistic about things. I know we all need money to live. I have bills to pay and my family's not going to back me up financially. So I will always take my precautions. But for the moment, I'm focused on enjoying and living life. The next question is, what made you feel like it was the moment you could quit your job? By the way, congratulations. Thank you. Honestly, my manager played a huge part in it. I feel that I was so caught up in the hustle and in my own money worries that I was kind of blinding myself to the fact that there are other ways to make a living. And honestly, I think that my salary and commission also kind of blinded me. We all know about lifestyle inflation and I was definitely a victim. So the more money that I would make in tech, the more money I would spend. And prior to the last couple of months, I really never had a big emergency fund. I wasn't investing a lot. I was legit spending a lot of what I was making. So I convinced myself that I needed all that money in order to survive. So what my manager had me do was sit down with myself, keep track of all my bills and expenses, figure out what I absolutely need. And then for like fun spending, I kind of looked inward and said, what money am I spending now that's just to cope with the fact that work is so miserable for me? You'd be surprised. It was things like really expensive Ubers because I was stuck at an office and had to get to an influencer event at a certain time. I was using DoorDash and other delivery services because I really couldn't afford to spend time making my own food, going grocery shopping myself. I was doing emotional spending sprees. I would just drop $500 to $1,000 on clothes if I wanted to, just to kind of like feel something. That all really adds up. And today I feel like I have the space and the time to do things like look at what's in my closet, use the things that I already own. I have time to go grocery shopping every day if I wanted to. I definitely have time to cook. I have time to make my own coffee at home. I'm definitely not in a rush like I used to be, so I have time to walk places, take public transit. So when I looked back at it, I really didn't need as much money as I thought. And when I brought that number to my manager, she looked at my dashboard and said, Savannah, you're doing that and then some with your brand deals every single month. And once she said that, also the deposits from the campaigns that I did like 3 months prior, 1 month prior, started hitting my business bank account. And I was starting to see that security fund that I was really looking for. Okay, I got another question from my broadcast channel. Was there an income range that you hit with making content that gave you the ability to leave your job job, or is it a leap of faith? The way I answered this was it was a little bit of both. Let me just be like fully transparent. So in my previous role, my salary was 85 to 90K. And then I did also earn quarterly commissions and a bonus, which brought me to like 175. That is a lot of money, but I told you guys I sat down with myself. I looked at my expenses. I looked at what I can realistically commit to spending. So when I made the decision that I was going to quit my job, which this was like October of last year, I used a lot of that excess money. So my commissions and bonuses to pay off debt. And I also saved them. And then every single penny that I made on a brand deal stayed in my business account. I didn't spend it. Over the past year in brand deals alone, I've made enough to replace about 75% of my base salary. And when I did the math on what my time and my peace and my freedom was worth, I realized that the cushion that I had was enough. But I think that regardless, once I passed like 50,000 in brand deal revenue, I knew that I could commit to this, even if it was just for a short-term period. The next question, what did you feel as you left the building on your last day? Estoy orgullosa. Thank you. My last office day felt super anticlimactic. One, it was the day before my very last day at work, but two, there were literally no managers and no leadership in the office that day, and I barely had work to do, so I was just saying my goodbyes to my peers, and that was really it. That's what I remember. But my actual last day was the Friday after my office day, and I actually closed a couple of deals, so I felt really good that I still finished strong. I said my goodbyes via Slack to some important people, and then my email went dark, and that was it. I think another reason it felt really anticlimactic is because I went straight into work after that, so I shut my laptop for the last time, went straight to a speaking engagement, so I actually spoke on a panel. I think I filmed like 2 or 3 campaigns that weekend and hosted an event. And then the following week I had a lot of client work to do. So the grind really didn't stop for like another couple of weeks. And then I finally had the space to sit down with myself and just take it all in and say, girl, you work for yourself now. This is your life. This is your schedule. This is what you make it. So I feel like my adjustment period was a little bit longer just because of all the things I had going on. What advice do you have for those wanting to break into content creation? Just do it and be very consistent. I'm not going to tell you that if you post 1, 3, 10, 20 times a day that you're going to have the following, the brand deals, whatever you want in a year. But what you will have is a lot of reps. When I look back at the content that I was making 2 years ago, I don't even know how people watched me. I don't know how people followed me, but I think that just kind of goes to show the growth. So basically my goal was to hit 10K in 10 months and I did it. But the way I did it was by posting like 1 to 3 times a day. I very rarely took a break. And even though I can barely look at the content that I started with, what it did was it taught me how to edit. It taught me how to film. It taught me how to recognize patterns in the algorithm. It taught me what my audience liked, and it taught me about myself. What do I want to post? You may not know the answer to that before you start, but you cannot sit there and overanalyze what you want to do so much that you never do it. So my biggest advice is pick up your camera, start somewhere. I think the next most important thing is that you have to speak to your audience. You have to do voiceovers, you have to talk to them just like this. You have to have something for people to remember you by. Remember that you're creating a world online, and your world has a sound, it has a look, it has its own framework and structure. So start building that out now. And I always say this to my coaching clients, if you are really so worried about what everybody has to think on your Instagram because you have people following you from high school and college, literally create a new one. Start from scratch. You don't have to. I didn't. I have the same Instagram that I've had since I was like 14. But if it's really going to stop you from going after what you want, just start from scratch. Next question is, what's your advice for building relationships with brands? I shared a little bit about this recently. Brands are definitely a part of your audience. I won't say that they're the most important part. You really need to focus on your community first. You cannot be posting on social media in pursuit of brand deals. That should honestly be a byproduct of your true mission. But whether you have a specific niche, you're doing lifestyle content, maybe it's beauty, fashion, you are using brands every single day. So when you're posting, make sure you're constantly tagging them in a number of different ways. That could be in your videos and captions, it could be in the comment section, it could be in your stories. Another one of my favorite things to do is follow my favorite brands and actually comment on their stuff like you're a friend of theirs. Building that relationship with brands and businesses is so important because brands don't always have a budget, but when they do, they're going to remember the creators that actually interact with them on a regular basis. You're going to be the first to pop up there. Okay, another question. Would you ever hire someone to be on your team to help with admin or projects? I would, but I already have a manager and she actually does regularly hire interns to kind of help the roster out. I'm at the point where my brand deal revenue can really only sustain one person's salary, and that is myself. I would absolutely be open to an assistant to help me with filming brand deals and campaigns, batch creating content, all that fun stuff, if maybe I surpassed 150K in brand deal revenue. One of my mutuals actually, her name is Valeria. She is amazing. amazing. She's just the sweetest person in real life and online. She actually recently hired an assistant and she got so much done, and I absolutely see the value in it. So I hopefully will be in that position one day. How do you start a YouTube channel? Honestly, YouTube takes a lot of work. Editing these videos just takes a much longer time than a short form. I think one thing that's a little different about YouTube than TikTok or Instagram is that you do have to think about it a little bit more. I'm not gonna say that you need like the perfect camera or anything to start. You can just start with your iPhone, but I do think you need to think about long-term sustainability. So if there's a particular topic or journey that you're on, how you're really gonna show up for that in long-form content is really important to think about. So for me, kind of restarting this YouTube channel, vlogs will still be a huge content pillar for me because I'm a vlogger, I'm a lifestyle girly, but I also wanna do a lot more of these sit-down talking videos since I am in such a big life transition. I wanna share about that with you, but it definitely took a lot more thinking before launching here. But the easiest thing that you can do if you do wanna at least start kind of building your vibe here on YouTube and building a little following is start with shorts. So repurposing your short form content on YouTube can actually help you gain a little bit of a following to start and can give you a little bit more confidence as you start to build out longer form content like this. But okay, amiguis, so those are all the questions I got for now. If you have any more, please let me know in the comments. I am so excited to continue taking you on my fun employment journey. There will be vlogs, there will be sit down videos, and then we're also gonna do the other things that we love, like beauty, skincare, traveling. I'm so excited. I have a few trips coming up, like to LA, New York, Mexico City, and I'm just so excited to take you guys with. If you're interested in following along to this journey that I'm on, I would love for you to subscribe. And if you love transparent videos like these, like, comment, let me know what you think. Bye, amiguis!